Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. And of course, I want to say Shalom to Yaki Makwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. And this one, I thought this one was a little interesting. I found this while I was scrolling on Instagram, and I guess it's from KFox 14 News. I went ahead and I looked through it, but I went ahead and looked it up. So I guess this happened in El Paso. So I looked it up, and it's on El Paso Times. I can actually, if I go back, this is basically the one that pops up. I just typed in ex-Navy SEAL El Paso, and it came up. And it was just here in July of 2026. And this news article specifically is from 6 days ago. We got another one from KDBC. So we're looking at it. The thing that got me was the shirt, right? As we get back here. All right, he's wearing a shirt that says Amalek. Now, those that are in this truth, we know who Amalek is, right? Amalek was a group of individuals, Amalekites, all right? Or an individual, Amalek, that was against the Israelites, okay? Us, okay? Now, we also know who the true worldly identity, all right, under the covering cast of, there's covering casts on it's really a covering cast upon everybody. We're not really under they've done it specifically mostly with Israel, but they've done it with everybody. Everybody's under a different name, as we know that they're not, right? For example, Amalek, all right, is really the 1948ers, all right, the ones that you can't really, I can't tell you exactly who they are. They're the ones that are masquerading as us. And who are we? Well, we're the Israelites. Okay, we are the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the speckled birds that don't necessarily look like those nations, but go back through those nations, through their bloodline, okay, through their father's side. And if you're part, whether Northern Kingdom or Southern Kingdom or Northern Kingdom is who are usually referred to as Jews, all right? Not necessarily the Northern Kingdom, but the Southern Kingdom are, right? Judah, Levi, and Benjamin. So Amalek, all right, are the individuals that are currently on the face of the earth, that are over there in that land, that are stating to be who we are, okay? And we know that they are not, in fact, the case, because as according to Deuteronomy 28, we have the curses, and the curses don't fit any nation, all right, on the face of the earth, but the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. So when I saw this shirt, I thought that was pretty interesting. And if you also see it, he's also wearing a Arabic hat of some variety. I don't know necessarily what flag it is. I assume it to be associated with one of the terror organizations, if I had to guess. And the whole thing was just really weird. Now, it says right here from No King's Day protest. Now, if you don't know what a No King's Day protest is, that's essentially when it's usually a leftist movement, all right, the Democrats protest against the Republicans, and specifically against their god, Trump. And again, both sides, left and right, all right, Democrat and Republican, they're all a bunch of cows to slaughter, all right? They're dumb. They don't really know what's going on, all right? They're just gang members at the end of the day. They do the same thing as Jake on a block, holding down a street that ain't theirs. They're, holding up a nation that hates them, all right? These are two individual forms of so-called patriots that want the best for a nation that does not want the best for them, okay? So they're all mindless idiots, okay? There was actually a song by Kurt Cobain, all right, in his band Nirvana, that I believe it was them that sung it, called I'm a Mindless Idiot. I'm a mindless... I want to get a new phone soon because this phone's getting slower and slower and slower, and it's starting to overheat now in Vegas with it being so hot. It used to overheat a little bit, but now, man, it's getting bad, and it's old anyway. This is iPhone 13, so I want to at least go to the 16 or whatnot, but I might wait till September, see what the 18 is, and just see what's going on. We'll see, but this phone's getting on me. It's actually the Meat Puppets, which means it probably was sung by Kurt Cobain, because Kurt Cobain was actually a big fan of the Meat Puppets. I'm a big fan of the Meat Puppets as well, but I'm not sure what the lyrics are. Let's see what it is. What's it about? I'm a mindless idiot. So it's an instrumental, all right? But that was the name of the song. I'm a mindless idiot. Let's see. Maybe they didn't. Kirkwood. I feel like for some reason that I could be getting it confused. I know that Nirvana covered quite a few songs by the Meat Puppets, so sometimes I get those things confused. But it was just an instrumental track called I'm a Mindless Idiot. Now, what is a mindless idiot? Well, it's right in the name, right? It's an idiot. It's a moron, someone who doesn't use their brain. And we have a lot of these people out here. But anyway, where do I want to attack this from? What side do I want to go from this? Anyway, these Democrats and Republicans, they're all a bunch of mindless idiots, and they vote for the leaders that would have nothing to do with them, okay? These are all individuals that would kill you for $1,000, okay? The government is highly corrupt, as like the late George Carlin stated, all right, while he was alive, and that man was a Jake 100%. It's a big club, and you're not in it. Okay? It's a big club, and you're not in it. As a matter of fact, let's see if we can get it. It's a big club, and you're not in it. And George Carlin was a highly intelligent individual as far as someone that's in the world goes. This guy said a lot of things that was correct. He knew about the Moors, all right, being not necessarily Israelites, but being black individuals, all right, not just Islamic, as a lot of people try to mark them off as being. Because if you look it up, the original, as they call it, they probably weren't even the original. People that were called Moors were Islamic, black individuals who are so-called, who are Islamic. But it began after that, allegedly after, not before, that all right, dark-skinned individuals in Europe were referred to as Moors. So anyway, it's a big club, and you're not in it. And it's from his 2005 special, Life is Worth Losing. And in that, I believe, I can't remember exactly how it went, but there was a funny segment he had where he said, they say life is not worth losing. Yes, it is, right? So like, people want to stay here, and they want to, live this life because there's so much here, right? There was a guy that... Basically, there was a guy at my old job that had a quote that I loved, and I believe it came from someone else. And I said, hey, his name was Donald, but I called him Don or Donnie. I said, hey, Donnie, how you doing? He's an old white guy, and he was actually a really intelligent individual for the most part as well. He was a little bugged out when it came to religion. He was into the Nephilim and all this crazy shit at the end of the day, but when it came down to actual things that are going on in the world, he's smart, all right? And that's why we ended up talking, because he mentioned something, and I actually snapped back on it. He said, you're not like most of these people out here that are just walking around not knowing what the fuck's going on. He says, my son, he's a very smart guy, he's a doctor, but he's still all up Trump's ass. And this guy was, the guy I was talking about, Donnie, he was, 80, 82, something like that. Might have been even 84. And... maybe he was a little bit younger. He might have been 78 to 82, right around that mark. But he knew what was going on, but just not according to the Bible. It's like Alex Jones. There's a lot of these individuals there. They know what's going on with certain things, and as they would be called, quote unquote, conspiracy theories. But they just really need to shut up when it comes to the Bible, because they have no idea what they're talking about. And that's what George Carlin did. George Carlin had a couple things where he went off about religion and the Bible and a bunch of other things. So really, it's just not his forte. Okay, you can't be a winner on all regards. Okay, just stick what you can stick to. So, but yeah, this guy Donald was talking. He had this quote, and I'd say, "Hey Don, how are you doing?" He said, "Oh, too." He said, "Too sick of living and too afraid to." He said like too. It was too afraid to die. It was like, how are you doing, Don? He'd be like, oh, sick of living, but too afraid to die. You know how it goes, right? And let's see. Too sick of living and too afraid to die. quote. Of course, it wants to give you the suicide hotline. John Y. It says the phrase "too sick of living and too afraid to die" captures a profound state of existential exhaustion and paralysis. Limbo fear. Anonymous. My whole life I've been so damn scared to live because I was scared to die, but at the same time I was scared of living, so I wanted to die, or maybe I was so scared of dying that I refused to live, right? And it gets in this state, and it's true, because none of us want to die, but at the same time, living is also very strenuous, right? Because in the current age, it shouldn't be living. This really, we're not living right now. If you really want to get down to it, this isn't living. Okay, the way that Esau has his society set up, this isn't living. I mean, we're all bought and sold. We're traded like we're stock. And it's really all Amalek that's behind that all, right? Because America is nothing more than a puppet state for is Israel. Okay? Is real. Not Israel, but Israel. Right? And it's a puppet state. All right? If you look up what a puppet state is, you can go look it up. Puppet state. Okay, a puppet state is a country that has its own government, flags, and laws, but is secretly or openly controlled by a stronger foreign power. The local leaders look like they're in charge, but they must obey orders from the outside nation. And that's what America is. It's a puppet state. All right, we're in the United States of Israel right now. That's what it is. It's a puppet state. In pretty much any other country, if you had government officials that are in direct ties to another country that are working and operating for the best interests of a foreign government, you would be kicked out, expelled, imprisoned, all sorts of, you'd be hit with all sorts of criminal penalties. But here, you can have people that their best interest is Israel, and that they're working to build up Israel, and they're looking for a better military for Israel, and they're Israeli citizens, and their family are Israeli citizens, or they're ex-Israeli citizens. They moved over here and became, citizens of some variety, but they're maintaining the interests of Israel still, and that's a puppet state. Okay, that's a puppet state. In the way that this country has had everything, the way you get your pay, the way healthcare is, everything is set up in a wicked way that you're not really living. Okay, you're essentially working and waiting to die. That's all you're doing. You're working and waiting to die. Really, one of the biggest pinnacles of achievement in this society is, getting older, all right? Getting around your 60. They keep on moving the goalposts. I don't even know what retirement age is now. Probably like 62, 64. It used to be 55. I think it's like 60-something now, and they'll move it. If we had another 10, 20 years on the society, it'll eventually be 72 years, 80, and then eventually nothing at all. I mean, better hope you live to 80 to even be able to retire. So that's the retirement age. But, a lot of people don't even live to be, if you look up retirement age, and we'll get back with the lesson in just a minute. 67. So it says you can claim early retirement at 62. So it is almost 70 now. Okay, so I lied because it went from 55 to 62. I'm actually going to go age for retirement change over the years. They say it's never changed. It says retirement age remains 65. You can do it at 62. I guess 55 is considered a senior or something. I don't know. Anyway, getting back onto it. But it's, this society is controlled by a big club and you're not in it. And part of that big club is these 1948ers, right? So let's see if we have the actual... Let's see. Let's go here.
Obedient workers, people who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork, and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back.
There you go. Speaking of the retirement,
so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later, because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
There you go. And you ain't in it. And notice how he mentioned Wall Street. You know, it's a fucking bunch of crooks, man. This whole, and then it goes on and says, you and I are not in the big club, right? Let's see. Here, listen to this.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. And by the way, it's the same big club they use to beat you over the head with all day long, when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged, and nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all.
There you go. At all. At all. And that's where we're going with that, so we can get back on track, because we got to get rolling with some scriptures. But they don't care about you at all. They don't. Like you said, at all. Not at all. But, you know, you'll have these individuals that'll fight, you know, no kings, no Trump. No, I like Trump. No, you both are fucking dumb, all right? Because both of you are getting nothing done, all right? Both of you are getting absolutely nothing fucking done, okay? At all. At all, right? You're not getting anything done. So let's go and read about it. Let's see. Do I have... Here's one. I think I actually did have it. There we are. So I was like, I thought I got it. I thought I might have not had it, though. Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10. This is going to be in your Apocrypha. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. And we have this. This can go a couple ways, all right, with this lesson. One, don't trust that you actually have a choice, all right? They're your enemy. They're not going to give you a choice. Do you think they would actually put anything as big of as an election into your hands? No, man. They would never do that. They wouldn't be so stupid. There was actually a old movie. I actually just saw a clip of it. I've actually never seen it, but I want to go see it. It's made by the same guy that did the Borat films. I can't remember his name, but he's actually a 1948er himself. At least allegedly. We don't know what he could actually end up going back to. But he ends up playing a lot of Arabic characters. He ends up playing a lot of Arabic characters. He could be truly and sincerely a small hatter 1948er, but you never know, all right? Because some people like to have that nationality, but they could go back to really being something else, all right? He could actually end up being an Ishmaelite, okay, an Arab, all right? He plays all those Arab characters and likes, you know, making jokes and fun. He, you know, maybe likes making fun and joking on himself. We don't know. But never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So rust doesn't get better, all right, first of all. It just gets worse. And one, we can't trust an individual like this with what his intentions are, because this could be a paid actor, okay? This could have been a paid guy. This could have been a distraction. This could have been anything. So we can't trust him in that. And then you can't also trust them to think that they're actually going to put something as strong in your hands as deciding the fate of a country. They're not going to do that, okay? But anyway, that guy I was mentioning that did the Borat films, he had another film called The Dictator. And there's a scene in that where it talks about, you know, you're all against dictator, but think about all the things you could do. You could set up a country where you have one, it looks like one person's controlling it, but really behind the scene, or he said you could set up a country where it looks like there's multiple people that are running the country, but really there's one person behind the scenes controlling it. You could also get rid of the pesky health care. The other thing that you could do, he's doing all this stuff, and basically what he's naming basically everything in America is what he's really doing. All right, and at the time, people are now just coming around to seeing it. All right, they're now like, wait a minute, what was he saying back then? Well, they were trying. There was many different George Carlin, that individual, the Borat. There was a lot of individuals that were giving you hints years ago, man, years ago. But it took being in such a bad situation that we're in now before people actually stepped out and said, "Oh shit, you know what? Maybe we're in a bad situation now. Maybe these guys weren't bullshitting." Because back then, again, if you would have said some of the shit that we say now, they would have called you fucking nuts. They would have called you truly and sincerely anti-Shem. They would have called you just all sorts of things, crazy conspiracy theorists. Now, some people still call you that, but a lot of the things that we used to be called conspiracy theories for, it's just now people are just know it. All right, I have never seen so many people that are directly speaking out against, and calling bullshit on the 11th of September thing that happened, right? We all know what that happened in that one specific year. That was before 2002, and it was just right after the year 2000, right? Right in the middle of those two, sandwiched in between, on that 11th day. And then also that situation that was, World War II was kind of based around with those camps that had those really, big walls that had, allegedly certain people in them that may or may not have actually been in them like they stated they were, right? At least to that capacity. And people call the moon landing, right? There's a lot of different things that were once called as conspiratorial that a lot of people are saying, oh, now we have enough information, they've substantiated it in a substantial amount of information. That, like, there's something that at the very least stinks, all right, about these situations. They might not deny them outright, they might not agree with them outright, but there's something somewhere in the middle that most people are at now where they're like, there's something there that doesn't really add up, but we don't know what. Okay, and that's what you see. That's what you're seeing on the internet. All right. Now, as for the 1948er people, it's funny because they were like the boy that cried wolf. All right, years and years, and they said, "Oh, everybody hates us. They hate us. They don't like us at all. They're terrible. They're doing terrible things to us. I'm running out of my country. It's horrible." But now it's actually happening. People actually want that to happen because of the genocide. All right, that's happening in the Middle East. And again, risky topics. All right, people don't like to talk about it, and whichever your viewpoint on is it. Again, I'm not here to change your viewpoint. I'm just here to say these are the viewpoints that people are having in the world. Everybody has their own. I have my own. You have your own. Which side are you on? Who knows? All right, there's one obvious right side. All right, but again, that's going to be subjective. It's just like people don't believe in this truth. Well, we're not here to change your mind on it. We're just here to present you evidence and fact. If you don't like fact, well, continue on with your fiction. I'm not going to get the AI overview. We'll just read it. So it says, ex-Navy SEAL in El Paso gets prison in plot to attack California cops. It says... it was working earlier, so now I'm going to have to get a different article. We'll go with KFox, because that's the one it came out on. So there's more photos here. So let me pull them up. I can actually just close out of this now. So you can see. Can I not zoom? Anyway, you can see it. You can see his shirt. And he had all these different hats. I wish I could zoom. Now what I can do, I can do this, and then I can just exit out of it. I don't know. That looks like some ISIS shit, is what it looks like. I don't know. The whole thing just is weird. He has this shirt. I don't even know what that means. Another one. That's what he had on his hat. Which that has that blade. I think that is like the ISIS or like something like that. I don't know. It's just weird. Why does he have stuff that says Amalek? Then he also has stuff from like jihadis and ISIS. It just, and that's another reason why you can never trust thine enemy. Okay? Because you got to ask yourself, all right, let's go and get, let's see. Technically, 1 Corinthians 8 and 5 through 6. That's not it. That was something else I was dealing with. There's one. Let me see. You can just put it right over there. Thank you. But, where was it? Not Psalm. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. But there's another. I'll read this one. Okay, I'll read this one. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. We're familiar with this one. It says, lest Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Now, again, Satan in the Bible, it can go both ways. Now, there's a spiritual demon, Satan, and sometimes the so-called white man is the devil. But sometimes Satan is also used for that as well. All right, it's all about context, knowing the context. So, lest Satan should get advantage of us, get a jump on us, right? For we are not ignorant of his devices. So, basically, we should be, if we actually go to 10. It doesn't give us much context. But what's being said here is basically, let's not let Satan get advantage of us. We're not ignorant of his devices. Okay, which means we're not stupid. We know what type of shit he gets himself involved in. Okay, we know the type of stuff that he's involving himself with, and the type of schemes, plots, and little, behind the scenes type shit that he's doing. So he shouldn't be able to get a jump on us, all right? Because we can already tell. For example, with this situation fucking stinks. This stinks, man. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. I can close out of that one again. But it doesn't make any sense why he would have all this shit. Okay, this one right here, if we look at this one, that looks like the, what is it called? Like the black sun. Yeah, it's got the Ouroboros around it too. In the middle, that's Nazi symbology, all right, in the middle there. So he's got Nazi symbology, jihadi symbology, also got a shirt that says Amalek on it. This guy, it's just, you got to ask yourself, what is it, what is it that's going on here? So let's read a little bit about it. It says, Albuquerque, New Mexico, an ex-Navy SEAL who was convicted of plotting to drive from El Paso to San Diego, California to attack a No King's Day protest with explosives has been sentenced. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, District of New Mexico, 49-year-old Gregory Vandenberg is it Polish or German? Dutch. Let's say Dutch and Flemish. Let's see. worry. We always got to look those names up because some of those names can be like Ashkenazi, okay? Which would be weird concerning everything. And again, who knows who this fucking guy is, all right? We're not, again, lest Satan should get advantage of us because we're not ignorant of his devices. Okay, we know what's going on, all right? We might not necessarily have all the details, but we know there's these paid, not conspirators, but these individuals to go and do these things, okay? Stage these events and so on and so forth. Got to be careful with my words. It says he was sentenced to 16 months in prison without a chance of parole. That's nothing. That's nothing. Okay, that's a year and some change. It says, and there is none, as there is none in the federal system. Vandenberg was convicted on January 12th of transportation of explosive with intent to kill, injure, intimidate, attempted transportation of prohibited fireworks. So he had intent to kill, and he got a year and some change. That's it. All right. Meanwhile, Jake will pull a gun out on someone and do 2 years. It says, he could be facing up to 10 though. Oh. Okay. So what happened? It said, according to the court records, Vandenberg, again driving from El Paso to San Diego, stopped by a travel center off of I-10 near Lordsburg, New Mexico, bought 6 large mortar fireworks designed to shoot high into the air and explode, and 72 M150 firecrackers, which when they pop off sound like gunfire. Then told the clerk at the store that he planned to throw fireworks at police officers during the protests. Well, why did you do that? Again, it's either you're a moron, or this is something to throw, individuals off of a trail or something. This is just, I don't know. And something about it just doesn't, it stinks. It doesn't just seem like your regular run-of-the-mill 40-year-old Trumpy that's just going on to do something. This seems like, the different, you got the different organizations, shirts and hats and all these different things. Now, allegedly, about the shirt, he says that Amalek was a destroyer of the Jews, and that's why he was wearing the shirt. But you don't realize that Amalek are the people that are calling themselves the so-called Jews today. Okay, that's who Amalek is. They're the Amalekites. Okay, the Israelites, the real Jews, are so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's us. Okay, so you hate us as well, but you're just a little confused. So what you're doing is you're wearing the shirt. It's just funny because you're wearing a shirt that says Amalek, claiming to hate the Jews, but the Jews that you're hating are actually, so-called European Khazars, and they're actually Amalek that are acting like they're us, the Jews, but they're playing make believe, and you're wearing the shirt that is actually them that you hate. Anyway, it says, Vandenberg then asked detailed questions about the amount of gunpowder in the firework, their explosive impact, ability to harm others, and discussed taping multiple fireworks together to increase their effectiveness. Vandenberg emphasized that he was not interested in the color or display of the fireworks, but only how they explode. Furthermore, he tried to convince the clerk to join him at the protest and discussed giving fireworks to others at the event, and noted that he would not get hurt because he knew what he was doing. Also, when buying fireworks, he told the cashier that he was not from the U.S. when they asked him for his ID, and then asked if the store was going to track him. Apparently, Vandenberg's behavior and questions raised red flags, and employees recorded his license plate and called authorities. Afterwards, federal agents tracked him to Tucson, Arizona, and arrested him the following morning while he was sleeping at his car at Davis, Montana Air Force Base, which, again, there's too many variables with this, man. Too many weird variables. Currently unemployed. It says, when authorities destroyed the vehicle, when authorities searched the vehicle, I read the part talking about destruction down here. When they searched the vehicle, they described finding the purchased fireworks clothes with anti-Semitic, anti-Israel, extremist symbols, including a T-shirt with an image of an Al-Qaeda flag. There you go, see? Another T-shirt calling for the destruction of Judea. Now, in another post I saw, it said destruction of Judah. So, but that was on the Instagram that I took the screenshots from. Right here. Investigators also noted the T-shirt he wore spelled Amalek in large letters, a T-shirt that Vandenberg had specifically made, and he said that meant the destroyer of Jews. Right? So, all this, just weird, just strange, right? Just something just strange, right? Just strange. So Leviticus 19:11. This is deceitful. This is the deceiving and deceitful and deceptive bullshit that Esau's got going in the background. All right, the motives, who knows? All right, who knows what's going on? But it is in the law, and again, these people claim to be Christians. They claim to be a society founded on God and Jesus Christ, and America the brave, and under God and God we trust. But then they don't do. And for someone who trusts the Lord, you don't do anything that He told you to do. All right, we do as the Israelites, all right, to the best of our abilities. We can't keep the law 100% perfectly, but we do try to keep it to the best of our ability and rehearse the righteous acts. And part of that's Leviticus 19:11. You shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another. Now, what does it mean to deal falsely? It says deal falsely means to act in deceit, trickery, or betrayal. So deceit and trickery. So what is deceit and what is trickery? So, well, deceit is deliberately causing someone to believe a lie. And trickery is trying to trick someone into thinking something or into doing something. Okay, you're trying to basically mislead them in some way, shape, or form. So, and that's what they're doing. All right, it's all this trickery. It's all this fucking trickery that they're doing, man. And like, it's staging these events, these false flag events, the crisis actors, all these different types of things. And again, we're not ignorant of these situations, but this is just something I want to make a lesson on because the whole situation fucking stunk to me. The Amalek shirt, and then you have Al-Qaeda flags and wearing an Al-Qaeda hat with it just doesn't make any sense. All right, it doesn't make any sense. And then on top of that, you're a Trump supporter, and then it just doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't make any sense. And then you're like deliberately trying to basically get caught by telling, how are these I'm going to throw these at the police. There's a point where there are dumb people and there are people that are trying to pretend as if they are dumb. And who knows what this situation is. All right, I have no idea. That's why I wanted to bring it up. There's something stinking, all right, and I wanted to bring it up to the brothers, all right, and it seems weird. It just seems really weird to me. It just seems very strange. It doesn't seem like a normal occurrence, even amongst Trump supporters, that something like that. It's just weird, okay? So 2 Corinthians 2 and 10 through 11, it says, right here, we'll get it again. It says, we already got it, but verse 11 again, I didn't close out of it. Lest Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. We're not morons. Matter of fact, why we're here, we came back here for a reason. Let's get that part in the NLT down in 11. It says, so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. We know what type of shit he does. We know about the false flag events, all right, at the, I'm not going to even mention it, all right, because Alex Jones got all messed up with some of that. And some of that was true. Some of it, there was a lot of weird shit with that Pew Pew event, but there was a lot of, anyway, I'm not going to talk about it too much, all right? I'm not going to talk about it too much. With a lot of those mass Pew Pew events, there's weird shit, okay? I live in Vegas. I wasn't living in Vegas at the time of the mass Pew Pew event that happened here, but I did do extensive research into it, and man, let me just tell you, there's so many different things. I remember that night when it happened, because that's how I got down here, actually, was my aunt that lived here at the time. And I remember, that's why I'm here now, is through the Most High, is because I have an aunt that lived here, and I was, in a bad situation, homeless up in California, Oregon at the time, and I was getting sick of it. So I asked, because my little cousin loved me and, had me around. And, of course, my aunt loved me as well. So, I haven't seen her in years. And they're nerds, and I'm a nerd. And we were getting in touch and didn't have too much time to get in touch. So She's like, if you ever need a situation, because my family's kind of fucked up. They had a lot of drug issues and a lot of shit going on. People involved in bad shit, disappearing, people watching people die and shit. It's just a whole fucked up shit. It's just fucked up. My family's got a lot of crazy fucking shit going on. That's why I usually don't associate with anybody but mom and my dad. That's it, man. Everybody else is, I got uncle that's, last thing I heard, he had to hold his friend's organ in because he got stabbed up, killed right in front of him. And he's on meth, but he was doing some other... He went back on meth. He was off meth, but now he's back on meth. I got another cousin. He just died from fentanyl overdose at a bus stop. I got another aunt. She's a fucking prostitute down here in Vegas. Does basically fucking escort work, as they say. I got another uncle. He was lost his family. He got his wife and himself on fentanyl and meth. And then, shit, I can't even think of any of the other ones, man. It's just, there's a bunch of crazy shit, but that's how I got down here. It's because, it's a prone situation in my family that, if you need a situation, you come stay with us, try to get you on your feet down over here because a lot of our family's all fucked up. And, anyway, I came down here, and that's how I got down here, but I remember when that event happened, I remember messaging her on Facebook. I said, because I was watching it that night live as it happened, man. Because there was live streams. I watched the fucking live streams, man. Or there might have been just recently uploaded live streams. Like they do the live stream and then it saves and you can watch it for a little bit. Now these are all gone. I was specifically watching one. A guy was running and there's gunshots in the background. He's like, "Oh, I just watched someone get their fucking brains blown out. I was watching their fucking brains blown out." He was ducking behind, garbage cans and shit. I guess he was ex-military. And then I remember messaging my aunt. I said, hey, are you guys safe? Because I know when I was visiting my aunt before I moved in with her, they would spend some time on the strip, right? And that's where this event happened. I said, hey, are you guys all right? And she said, yeah, we're okay. I said, good, whatever. Whatever, I said, good, glad to hear. And I was just entranced in it, man. I was reading the threads about it. I was on Facebook reading about it. And apparently there was a lady that said, oh, you're all going to die tonight, right? That was in the crowd. There's other things talking about a gunfire coming from a helicopter. There was a lot of other things later that I read shortly after, maybe not that night. People talking about SUVs and gunfire not coming from the Mandalay window, but in fact coming from the parking garages. I don't know if the Mandalay or the one of the other nearby casinos, and it was machine gun fire. Okay, and I know for a fact. I can tell you 100% for a fact. Okay, and this is just my personal opinion. All right, not misinformation, but I know for myself 100% fact. You can choose to believe whatever you want that was machine gun fire, because I know what machine gun fire sounds like, because I've heard it several times before, and real videos, and I know what it sounds like in videos. All right, because I used to watch a lot of videos with guns. And, there's FPS Russia. There's a bunch of guys. I used to watch a lot of gun videos. Right, a lot of people shooting guns and stuff, because video games and guns and seeing them shoot is kind of cool. I'm not like a big gun guy or anything like that, but when I see Esau standing with a gun firing him, sometimes I'll watch the videos because they're kind of cool, right? Seeing the videos, the amount of firepower, it's kind of cool to watch. I like the ones where they put it up against, there's this one guy, there was another guy called Demolition Ranch. There's this other guy that I watch. I think his name's Grand Thumb, and he'll be like, how many cast iron pans can I shoot through? And he'll go from a 22 to a 9mm. He'll go up to blackout. He'll go, and then 50 caliber BMG. And it's just fun. It's curious because I'm like, oh shit, I wonder how many pans he's gonna go through. It's just interesting videos, right? So I know what machine gun fire sounds like, and I know the difference between bump fire rifles and fast fire semi-automatics and a fucking machine gun fire, something like an MG42. I know the fucking difference, and I've watched a lot of war documentaries about Vietnam and shit with MG42. It has it's like, I'm not the best at sound effects, but that's the sound it makes. All right, it has this weird echo that comes off of it. And that's what that fucking shit sounded like in Vegas, all right, when that was happening. That wasn't bump fired, all right? That was not several, and again, it was one individual. That was like several fucking rifles at minimum. It would have had to been him and like 3, 4, 5 other guys in unison, synchronized shooting with very little margin for error to keep it. Watch the videos, man. There's a site you can go to. I bet this shit's gone. It was VegasShootingMap.com. Oh, it's still up. Well. Yeah, you go through here, and you can see you can look at the margin. It's better on a computer. All the black is where people actually died. See, people were dying up here and stuff. Phone calls. You can listen to a phone call. Check it out. You can go and listen to it. Is it playing? I can't hear it.
In place. We'll try to get medical. Yes, we'll try to get medical attention. Hooters near kitchen.
Yes, she said stay inside the building. So they should stay inside the building underneath that stairway.
Yes, do not go anywhere.
Do not go anywhere. Okay.
Number of injuries. Okay?
Okay.
All right, ma'am.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Monday.
So, and let's just see. There's videos too. They call it a volley. Oh, second volley. I wonder if some of these clips were removed. So let's go. Let me see. It's going to do all. Anyway, besides the point, but if you ever want to go and check that out, just go do it. That's the link right there. Just go and check it out. Archive as much stuff as you can, because who knows if it'll ever go down. And just listen to the gunfire. Let's see if anybody mentions it. There's also another one. Let's see. Hear it?
Driven! Hey! This way, babe. We gotta go that way.
Guys, if you can make it, go that way, through the corner.
And then you can hear bullets punching in the floor. It's true. fake. Nah, not this one. But you can hear it. Sounds just like that. That's machine gun fire, man. That's machine gun fire. So, another thing that we're not ignorant of. But that's what they do. They do these different types of events. Matter of fact, I was just watching a CIA guy. He's an ex-CIA guy, and he does a lot of these videos. And he was saying that the way that they operate is that if you're one individual that they want, they will blow up a whole apartment block, kill 1,000 people just to get you because it doesn't matter to them. You know who he was talking about? Well, and then. That's all you need to know. Psalms 36:3, it says, the words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He hath left off to be wise and to do good. So, NLT, make it simpler for you. Everything they say is crooked and deceitful. They refuse to act wisely or do good. Okay, and Esau's in this spirit right here. So, and they're all lies, all right? They're all crooked and deceitful. They'll say one thing, and it's actually a complete, again, it's just bump fired rifles. Sure. And then why didn't they get into the room? They say, the cop froze. Well, why did the cops freeze there? They froze at Uvalde. They always seem to freeze. You want to know why? Because they're given to orders to not move. They're given orders to not move, okay? By who? Well, let me rewind the tape. And then, right? And of course, they're not directly speaking to them. They're speaking to an individual that got orders for another individual. They got orders from another individual. They got orders from another individual. They got another from another individual, from a group of individuals that are led by another group of individuals that are controlled by those individuals that are really controlled by the Rothschilds and the elites, right? Psalm 10:7, it says, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. So wickedness and uselessness, all right? That's what they do. Uselessness and wickedness. That's what they put out because they're evil. They're just evil. They're evil as hell, and they're wicked, and that's what they do. So, I don't know. Comment down below what you think this whole situation was. If you think it was something weird, what you think it possibly could be. I don't know. It could just some staging of an event. I don't even know what it is. It's weird. It stunk to me, so I just wanted to bring attention. I got a little rambling, went on a couple other topics, dealing with Esau's little lies and deception, little things that they like to say that really didn't happen. But Lord, what was edifying? That's where we're going to close out. So again, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak. Shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.